What up, guys? Just pulled into Boston Billiards. I'm with my buddy and part-time coach, GTOJ. And I'm going to play some 1-2, 1-3, maybe 2-5 if the game's looking good. And yeah, let's get into the hands.
Alright, first hand of this monster session. I'm on the button, and there's 4 limps to me. I look down at ace-9 offsuit. From what I've seen, this table is incredibly passive, so I decide to take the aggressive route and raise to $25. Only one player in early position makes the call. We're heads up to a flop, which comes 8-6-3 rainbow. Out of position checks to me, and on a board that should theoretically favor him, I check back. The turn is the 9 of clubs, giving me top pair, top kicker on a draw heavy board. The out of position player checks and I bet $30. I have no idea what he could have here, but I have to go for value after I make top pair. He makes a call and we're off to the river, which comes another 6. Once again, he checks to me, and I think for a little bit, but decide there's not much I can get value from and can just check this card back. The out of position player flips over ace king, and we take it down. Limp calling with ace king. Couldn't be me, bro. Always nice to start off a session with a small win. 2 hands later, we get an upgrade in the form of ace queen offsuit. I open to 15 over an early position limp. The cutoff, big blind, and original limper all make the call. We're off to a flop, which comes queen, 9, 6, 2 spades. It checks to me, and I continue for a bet of $20. The cutoff makes the call, the big blind gets out of the way, and the limper makes the call. The turn sucks. It's a 10 of spades, bringing in a ton of draws that my opponents could have been calling with. Early position thinks for a bit and checks. I check, and the cutoff does as well. Luckily, the river's a clean card. It's a 2 of diamonds. And early position leads out for $20. Getting such a good price, I make the call. He can sometimes have a 2 pair straight or flush that beats me here, but I only need to be good less than 20% of the time. Making a hero fold with top here and being wrong would be an absolute disaster. The cutoff folds, and early position shows king queen for a worse top pair. That's the other reason the 10 of spades sucks. If that's a clean card like the 7 of diamonds, I probably stack the early position player. Instead, the action gets killed, and I only win a small medium-sized pot instead of a big one. That's okay though. On to the next hand. In this next hand, we finally get some good pre-flop action. There's 2 limps to me in the button, and I peel king, queen offsuit. I raise to 20, the small blind folds, and the big blind 3-bets me to $70. The 2 limpers fold, and I make the call. Finally, a heads-up pot. Haven't seen one of these in years. The flop comes pretty good. Queen, 4, 8, rainbow. Can't ask for much better. The big blind actually checks this flop, so I go for a bet of $50. Hands like ace, king, jacks, and 10s, I'll have to stick around for this price. We're playing about $450 effective, and if a king comes on the turn, I can stack ace, king for a massive pot. The big blind makes the call, and we're off to the turn, which does come a king. The big blind checks to me, and at this point, I make a huge mistake. He's covering his stack with his hands, so I don't know how much he has behind. I decide to size up here to $175, without realizing he only has about $250 to $300 behind. So I'm effectively pot committing him, allowing him to sometimes fold ace king and other 1-pair holdings. He looks at his stack, thinks for a bit, and ends up folding. I hope he didn't make a hero fold with ace king and fold something like 10s or jacks, but definitely a good reminder to check my opponent's stack size before I make a big bet. Nevertheless, a nice pot coming my way. Alright, let's keep this heater going. This time with pocket aces under the gun. I open to 15 and get 4 callers. Back to the multi-way 1-3 nonsense. Flop comes pretty great. Queen, 5, deuce, rainbow. Seems clean enough to me, so I make it 35. The other early position player makes the call, and so does the late position player. 3 ways to the turn, which comes an innocent looking 6. I decide to go for another bet here. Charge Queen X holdings on a dry board. I sized to $80, around half pot, and the OMC to my left immediately jams for another $80. The late position player folds. I know he has a set here, but 80 to win around 300. I simply cannot fold. I stick in the extra 80, ask if he's got a set, and sure enough, he flips over pocket queens. I don't want to be that guy who complains the only reason why he loses is because the other players are bad. But who looks down at pocket queens in early position over an open and thinks, yeah, I'm just going to call here. I'd love to incentivize a couple more people to call. You can go 5 ways to a flop. The more the merrier, right? I'll tell you who thinks that. The guy who just stacked me. So, yeah, I don't hit my 2-outer and send a big pot the wrong way.
Okay, hold on. 150, 175.
All right, can't win with aces. Let's see if we can win with some trash. The very next hand, there's 4 limpers to me in the big blind, and I look down at queen 8 suited. I check my option, and the poker gods offer their apology with a flop of queen 8 deuce 2 clubs. The small blind checks, and I start with a bet of $5. Only the OMC from the last hand makes the call. The poker gods clearly aren't that sorry when the turn comes a 7 of clubs, completing the front door flush draw. I think back to the ace queen hand at the beginning of the session and all the value I missed out on, so I continue for a bet of $15. If the OMC raises me, I think I have an easy fold, but he puts in the flat call. The river's clean in the 9 of hearts, and I go for a 3rd straight of value to the tune of $25. He quickly makes the call. I show my 2 pair, and he flips over king queen, eerily reminiscent to the ace queen hand from the beginning of the video. This time I went for 3 streets of value, and it worked out. Looks like even a donkey like me can learn. Alright, here's a fun hand that puts my poker prowess fully on display. I'm under the gun and I look down at pocket 10s and raise to $15. The player to my left cold 3 bets to $40. There's a middle position call and I make the call, closing the action. 3 ways out of position to a flop, which comes 9, 4, deuce, 2 diamonds. I check to the pre-flop aggressor, and he snap jams $280. Middle position hems and haws and makes the call. When the guy on my left snap overbet jams, I immediately get the he has aces tingles. I confer with the poker gods, and they tell me a 10's not coming, and lay down my overpair. The board runs out, there's no 10, and my disciplined GTO optimized fold is rewarded. When early position shows pocket aces and middle position shows pocket queens. The guy with pocket queens asks the guy to his left, would you have made that call? And the middle-aged guy goes, nope, no I would not have. Funny scenes in Nashua.
Yeah, 1 second.
Alright, session's going great. What's the one hand that could ruin all of it? You guessed it, pocket jacks. There's 4 limps to me in the small blind, and I bump it up to 25. Funny enough, only the big blind makes the call. Maybe $25 is the magic amount that can make these donkeys fold their trash pre-flop. Out of position to flop, which comes 9, 4, 5, 2 hearts. I'm loving it. I got an overpair, plus the jack of hearts in case shit hits the fan. I continue for a bet of $30. The big blind snaps his shit off so hard, which usually means he's on a draw of some sort. Perhaps hearts, 6, 7, something like that. We turn the magical jack of diamonds and put out a bet of $50. Before I can get too fired up, he folds. And you're probably asking, GTO Jason, why do you include such a lame hand? And I'll tell you why. I hit a set. I don't really do that. Plus, it's my vlog. Anytime I hit a set, I'm just going to put it in there. I don't care if it's a $4 pot. Some people play poker for the psychological warfare or the math and stats and all that nerdy shit. I just play to hit sets. That's all I really care about. It's maybe my favorite thing to do in the world. You guys haven't even seen me mad. Wait until you see me lose with a set, and you'll see the real tilt monkey come out of his cage. Speaking of tilt monkeys, we got one at the table, in the form of a young guy who's having a bad day at the poker table. He has about $75 left. About an orbit earlier, he tells everybody that he's on tilt and wants us to come and take the rest of his stack. That plan sounds good to me, so I start looking for my opportunity. I peel King 10 of clubs on the button and raise to 20 over 3 limps. Mr. Tilt is in the big blind, and he jams for $71. Not the greatest situation, but he's been jamming pretty much any 2 cards. So I stick it in there and hope for the best. Flop looks great, 8, 6, deuce, 2 clubs. Turns even better when it comes to King of Diamonds, but the river comes an Ace of Hearts. Mr. Tilt tells me he rivered me and flips over Ace 5 offsuit. I don't know how I get that run out and lose. Flop looks great, turn looks great, and then the river just destroys me for no reason. The worst part is, I live right next to a river, so anytime I have a bad session where I'm getting rivered all the time, I look out and I'm constantly reminded of my failures. Good thing I only have 15 more months on this lease. An orbit goes by, and it looks like we're going to get a chance to get our money back. Mr. Tilt is under the gun +2, and he open shoves the $125 he won from the last pot. It folds around to me in the small blind, and I peel Ace Jack offsuit. If I'm in there with King 10, I'm sure as hell in there with Ace Jack, so I make the call after it folds to me. Luckily, the big blind gets out of the way, and we're heads up to a run out. Flop comes 9, 6, 3, turns a duck, and rivers a 7. I'm sitting there with Ace High thinking, damn it, I just doubled this guy up again. But he shakes his head and looks defeated. I announce Ace High, and he says I'm good, and flips over King Jack. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you play poker. Get the money in good and hold. It's as simple as that. I'm not charging anything for these poker lessons. So if this wealth of information has helped your game in any way, and you feel the need to pay me back somehow, all you gotta do is click the subscribe and like button, and maybe leave a nice comment. This hand wraps up this video, but there will be a part 2 coming next week. This session just had way too many notable hands to fit all into one video. So stay tuned to find out how the session concluded.
Don't like Yankees.
This week's selected comment is by Gregory Thomas. Until next time, stay optimized, my friends.